My name is Eva. I trusted him with my life and my money. He smiled at me, kissed my cheek, and threw me out on the street. He forced me to sign the papers. I lost my house. This is my story. It is a very hard story to tell. Sometimes my heart still hurts when I think about it. But I want to tell you. I want to tell you because maybe you are hurting too. Maybe someone broke your trust. Maybe you feel very alone right now. I want you to listen to my words. You are not alone. I understand your pain. I am 28 years old. I live in a big city, but I grew up in a very small village. My family was poor. We did not have a lot of money. We did not have a big house, but we had love. My mother and father worked very hard. They taught me to work hard too. They always said, "Eva, you must work for your dreams. Nothing comes easy." I listened to them. When I was 18 years old, I moved to the big city. I was scared. The city was loud. The buildings were very tall. There were so many people. I felt very small, but I had a big dream. I wanted a good life. I wanted to be safe. I wanted my own home. I found a job in a bakery. I loved the bakery. It smelled like warm bread and sweet sugar. My boss was an older woman. Her name was Rosa. Rosa was very kind to me. She taught me how to make bread. She taught me how to make cakes. I worked early in the morning. I woke up at 4 o'clock every day. It was still dark outside. It was cold, but I walked to the bakery. I put on my white apron. I mixed the flour and the water. I baked the bread. I worked in the bakery for 6 years. I saved all my money. I did not buy expensive clothes. I did not go to expensive restaurants. I put my money in the bank. I watched my money grow. I was very proud of myself. One day, I had enough money. I bought a small house. It was not a big house. It was not a new house. But it was my house. It had a small garden. It had a yellow front door. I painted the kitchen blue. I bought a soft bed. I bought a small table for my kitchen. I was so happy. I cried happy tears on my first night in my house. I felt safe. I thought, I did it. My life is good. I lived in my house for 2 years alone. I liked my quiet life. I worked at the bakery. I came home. I watered the flowers in my garden. I cooked my dinner. I read my books. Life was simple. Life was easy. Then everything changed. It was a Tuesday morning. It was raining outside. The bakery was warm. The bell on the door rang. A man walked in. He was tall. He had dark hair. He had a very handsome face. He wore a nice gray coat. He shook the rain from his hair. He looked at me and smiled. His smile was very bright. It made my heart beat fast. I felt shy. "Good morning," he said. His voice was deep and warm. "Good morning," I said. "What can I get for you?" "I need a black coffee." "And maybe one of those sweet cakes," he said. He pointed to the cakes. I gave him his coffee and his cake. He paid me. But he did not leave. He stood by the counter. He talked to me. He asked for my name. My name is Eva, I told him. Eva, that is a beautiful name, he said. My name is Mark. Mark stayed for 20 minutes. We talked about the rain. We talked about the city. He was very funny. He made me laugh. When he left, I felt a little sad. I wanted him to stay longer. The next day, Mark came back. He bought another coffee. He talked to me again. He smiled at me again. He came back every day. For 2 weeks, I saw him every morning. I started to look for him. I waited for the bell on the door to ring. I wanted to see his gray coat. I wanted to see his smile. One day, he asked me a question. Eva, do you want to have dinner with me tonight? He asked. My face felt hot. I was very happy. Yes, I said, I would like that. That night, we went to a nice restaurant. I wore my best dress. It was a red dress. Mark told me I looked beautiful. He opened the doors for me. He pulled out my chair. He was a perfect gentleman. We talked for hours. Mark told me about his life. He said he was a businessman. He said he worked very hard. He said he wanted to build a big company. I listened to him. I thought he was very smart. I thought he was very brave. He asked me about my life. I told him about my village. I told him about my parents. I told him about my job at the bakery. I told him about my small house with the yellow door. Mark looked at me with soft eyes. You are amazing, Eva, he said. You worked so hard. You are a strong woman. I like that. I felt so special. No one ever said those things to me. I felt like a princess in a storybook. We started to spend all our time together. We went for walks in the park. We ate ice cream. We went to the movies. Mark bought me flowers. Red flowers, yellow flowers, pink flowers. My small house was full of beautiful flowers. I fell in love with him. It happened very fast. I loved his laugh. I loved his warm hands. I loved how he looked at me. I thought he loved me too. He told me he loved me. He whispered it in my ear. He held my hand tightly. Eva, you are my everything, he said. We are a team. You and me against the world. I believed him. I trusted him completely. I gave him the key to my house. He started to come to my house every evening. He cooked dinner for me. We watched television on my small sofa. He slept in my soft bed. My house did not feel empty anymore. It felt full of life. It felt full of love. After 6 months, Mark had a problem. He came to my house. He looked very sad. His shoulders were down. He did not smile. What is wrong, Mark? I asked. I touched his arm. He sighed. It was a long, sad sigh. I lost my apartment, Eva, he said. My landlord sold the building. I have to leave in 3 days. I have nowhere to go. My heart broke for him. I loved him. I wanted to help him. I did not want him to be sad. I did not want him to be on the street. You can stay here, I said quickly. You have the key. This is your home too. Mark looked at me. His eyes were wide. Are you sure, Eva? I do not want to be a burden. You are not a burden, I said. I love you. We are a team, remember? Mark smiled. He hugged me very tight. He kissed my forehead. Thank you, Eva. You are an angel. I will only stay for a short time. I will find a new place soon. But he did not find a new place. Mark moved his clothes into my bedroom. He moved his shoes into my hallway. He brought his books. He brought his computer. Suddenly, my small house was very crowded, but I did not mind. I was happy to wake up next to him. At first, it was wonderful. We woke up together. We drank coffee in my blue kitchen. Then I went to work at the bakery. Mark stayed home. He said he was working on his computer. He said he was building his business. I worked very hard at the bakery. I came home at 5 o'clock. I was always tired. My feet hurt. My arms ached from making bread. When I came home, Mark was always on the sofa. The television was on. The kitchen was a mess. There were dirty plates on the table. There were dirty cups by the sink. How was your day? I asked him. Fine, he said. He did not look at me. He looked at the television. Did you work on your business? I asked. Yes, Eva. I worked hard, he said. His voice was a little angry. I did not say anything else. I washed the dirty plates. I cooked dinner. I cleaned the house. I was very tired, but I loved him. I thought he was just stressed. I wanted to be a good partner. Weeks passed. Then months passed. Mark changed. The sweet man with the bright smile was gone. He was quiet now. He was often angry. He yelled at the television. He yelled at the phone. He stopped buying me flowers. He stopped telling me I was beautiful. I felt a cold wind in my house. I felt a cold space between us. I tried to fix it. I made his favorite food. I bought him a new shirt. I asked him to go to the park with me. I do not have time, Eva, he always said. I am busy. Business is hard. You do not understand. He was right. I did not understand. I only understood baking bread. I only understood saving money. I did not understand his big business. Then the money problem started. One evening, I was washing the dishes. Mark came into the kitchen. He stood behind me. He touched my shoulders. His touch was not gentle. It felt heavy. Eva, he said, I need your help. I turned around. I dried my hands on my towel. What is it? I asked. My business is growing, he said. But I need money. I need to buy some things for the business. The bank will not give me a loan. They say my business is too new. He looked into my eyes. I need to borrow some money from you, just for a little while. I will pay you back, I promise. I felt a small fear in my stomach. I remembered my parents' words. You must work for your dreams. Nothing comes easy. I worked so hard for my money. I saved it for many years. How much do you need? I asked quietly. He told me a number. It was a very big number. It was almost all my savings in the bank. Mark, that is a lot of money, I said. My voice was shaking a little. That is my emergency money. That is my safety. Mark's face changed. The anger came back. His eyes got dark. I thought we were a team, Eva. I thought you loved me. I thought you believed in me. I do love you, I said. I do believe in you. But nothing, he shouted. He hit his hand on the kitchen table. The salt shaker fell over. If you love me, you will help me. If you do not help me, my business will fail. It will be your fault. I felt terrible. I felt like a bad person. I did not want him to fail. I did not want to be a bad partner. I started to cry. The tears fell down my face. Mark saw my tears. His face softened. He stepped close to me. He hugged me. He kissed the top of my head. I am sorry, Eva, he said softly. I am just very stressed. This business is so important. It is for our future. I want to buy us a bigger house. I want to buy you nice things. I just need a little help now. Please, my love. He used his sweet voice, the voice from the first day in the bakery. I was weak. I was tired of fighting. I wanted peace in my house again. Okay, I whispered. I will give you the money. The next day, I went to the bank. I took out my money. I gave it to Mark. He smiled. He kissed me. He said I was the best woman in the world. For 1 week, he was nice again. He cooked dinner. He watched movies with me. But the money did not fix things. The money was gone. And Mark was angry again. He still did not work. He still stayed on the sofa. He drank beer in the afternoon. He left empty bottles on the floor. My beautiful blue kitchen was always dirty. My soft bed smelled like beer and sweat. I was so unhappy. I did not smile at the bakery anymore. Rosa, my boss, asked me if I was okay. You look tired, Eva, she said. You look sad. What is wrong? I am fine, Rosa, I lied. Just a little tired. I could not tell her the truth. I was ashamed. I chose this man. I gave him my house. I gave him my money. I felt so stupid. I did not want anyone to know how stupid I was. I wanted to ask Mark to leave. Every night, I planned the words in my head. Mark, you have to go. This is not working. But every morning, I looked at his face sleeping next to me, and I could not say it. I was afraid to be alone again. I was afraid he would be angry. I was trapped in my own house. Then came the darkest day of my life. It was a Friday. I came home from work early. I had a bad headache. The sky was dark gray. The wind was blowing hard. It felt like a storm was coming. I opened my yellow door. I walked inside. The house was very quiet. I walked into the living room. Mark was sitting at the small table. He was not watching television. He was sitting straight. He had a black pen in his hand. There were papers on the table, many white papers with a lot of small writing. He looked at me. His face was very serious. It was hard like stone. Eva, sit down, he said. It was not a request. It was a command. I walked to the table. My heart started to beat very fast. It beat in my chest. It beat in my ears. Thump, thump, thump. "What is this?" I asked. I did not sit down. "Sit," he said again. His voice was cold. I sat down slowly. My hands were shaking. I put them in my lap so he could not see. "I found a solution," Mark said. He pointed to the papers. "This is a contract, a business contract. I found a big investor. He wants to give me a lot of money. Millions of dollars, Eva. We will be rich." I looked at the papers. I could not read the words. My headache was too bad. My eyes were blurry. "That is good, Mark," I said quietly. "I am happy for you. I need you to sign these papers," he said. He pushed the papers across the table to me. He put the black pen on top of them. I stared at the pen. It looked like a dangerous weapon. "Why do I need to sign?" I asked. "It is your business, not mine." Mark leaned forward. He looked deep into my eyes. His eyes were not warm. They were black and empty. "Because we are partners, Eva," he said. "The investor needs to see that I have assets. He needs to see that I have collateral. He needs to see that I am stable." "What does that mean?" I asked. I did not understand those big words. Assets, collateral. I only knew flour, water, and yeast. "It means," Mark said very slowly, like he was talking to a child, "that I need to use this house as a guarantee, just on paper. You sign this, and the investor gives me the money. When I get the money, the house is safe. It is just a formality." I felt sick. My stomach twisted in a tight knot. He wanted to use my house, my safe place, my dream with the yellow door. "No," I said. The word fell out of my mouth. I surprised myself. Mark stopped moving. The room was perfectly silent. Even the wind outside seemed to stop. "What did you say?" he asked. His voice was low and dangerous. "I said no," I said again. I tried to sound brave, but my voice was tiny. "I will not put my house in danger. I worked 6 years for this house. I wake up at 4 o'clock every day. This is mine, Mark. You took my money. You cannot take my house." Mark stood up. He pushed his chair back. It made a loud, scratching sound on the floor. He walked around the table. He stood over me. He was so much taller than me. He was so much stronger. Suddenly, I was terrified. The man I loved was gone. A stranger was standing in my house. A very angry, very dangerous stranger. "You listen to me, you stupid girl," he hissed. He grabbed my arm. His fingers squeezed my skin so hard it hurt. I cried out in pain. "Mark, you are hurting me." "Let go," I cried. He did not let go. He pulled me out of the chair. He pulled me close to his face. I could smell the old beer on his breath. "I have worked for months on this deal," he yelled. Spit flew from his mouth and hit my face. "You are not going to ruin it. You are nothing without me. You are just a stupid baker. You think anyone else will ever love you. You think you are special. You are pathetic." His words hit me like punches. I felt my heart break into tiny, invisible pieces. I started to cry hard. My vision went completely blurry with tears. He dragged me back to the table. He pushed me down into the chair. He slammed his hand on the table next to the papers. "Sign the papers, Eva," he screamed. His face was red. The veins in his neck were popping out. "Sign them right now, or I swear to God, you will regret it." I was shaking violently. I could not breathe properly. I was taking short, gasping breaths. I looked at the door. It was too far away. He was blocking the path. I looked at the window. It was closed. Nobody could hear me. I was completely alone with him. He picked up the pen. He forced it into my shaking hand. He wrapped his big hand over my small hand. He squeezed my fingers around the pen until they ached. He pushed my hand down to the bottom line of the paper. There was a small line that said signature. "Sign it," he whispered in my ear. His voice was suddenly very calm. It was scarier than the screaming. "Sign it, and I will be nice again. Sign it, and we will be happy. Just sign the papers, Eva." He forced my hand down. He pressed the pen to the paper. I was so scared. I thought he was going to hit me. I thought he was going to kill me. I just wanted it to stop. I wanted the screaming to stop. I wanted the pain in my arm to stop. I moved my fingers. With his hand crushing mine, I wrote my name. Yufi, 3 little letters. They took only 1 second to write. But in that 1 second, I signed away my life. Mark snatched the paper away immediately. He let go of my hand. He looked at the signature. He smiled. It was a horrible, evil smile. He looked down at me. I was crying onto the wooden table. I was holding my sore arm. He bent down. He kissed my wet cheek. It felt like a snake touching my skin. "Good girl," he said. He took the papers. He walked to the bedroom. He packed his clothes into a bag. He packed his books. He packed his computer. He walked out of the bedroom. He carried his bags to the front door. He opened my yellow door. He looked back at me one last time. "Goodbye, Eva," he said. He walked out. He closed the door behind him. The click of the lock sounded very loud in the quiet house. I sat at the table for a long time. The house was dark now. The sun went down. The storm started outside. Rain hit the windows. I did not turn on the lights. I just sat in the dark. I felt completely empty. I had no tears left. I felt like a ghost in my own home. I did not sleep that night. I stayed at the table. The next morning, the sun came up. It was a bright, clear Saturday. I stood up. My body was stiff and cold. I walked to the kitchen. I wanted to make tea. I wanted to pretend everything was normal. There was a loud knock on my front door. I jumped. My heart raced again. Was it Mark? Did he come back? Was he sorry? A tiny, stupid part of me hoped he was sorry. I walked to the door. I opened it slowly. It was not Mark. It was a strange man. He was old. He wore a gray suit. He had a brown leather bag in his hand. He looked very serious. Behind him, standing on the sidewalk, was Mark. Mark was wearing his nice gray coat again. He was smiling. He looked relaxed. "Can I help you?" I asked the man in the suit. "Are you Eva Rossi?" the man asked. "Yes," I said. The man opened his brown bag. He took out a paper. It was not a white paper with small writing. It was a thick, legal paper with a red stamp on it. "I am a lawyer," the man said. "I represent Mr. Mark Davies. I am here to inform you that you must vacate this property immediately." I stared at him. The words did not make sense in my head. Vacate property. "I do not understand," I said. My voice was just a whisper. "This is my house." "Not anymore, Ms. Rossi," the lawyer said. He held up the paper with the red stamp. "You signed a transfer deed yesterday. You gave the legal title of this house to Mr. Davies. He is the sole owner now. And he sold the house to a new buyer this morning. The new owners want to move in tomorrow. You have to leave now." The world started to spin. The sky above me spun. The yellow door spun. The lawyer spun. I looked past the lawyer. I looked at Mark. Mark stood on the sidewalk. He had his hands in his pockets. He was smiling at me. It was a smile of pure victory. He won. I lost. "Mark," I screamed. I ran past the lawyer. I ran down the path to Mark. "Mark, tell him. Tell him this is a mistake. You said it was a guarantee. You said the house was safe." Mark looked at me like I was a crazy stranger. He stepped back. "I do not know what you're talking about, Eva," he said smoothly. His voice was loud, so the lawyer could hear. "You signed the house over to me to pay back the money you owed me. We had a deal. Now, please leave my property before I call the police." He lied. He lied perfectly. He lied without blinking his eyes. "You liar," I screamed. I tried to hit his chest. I wanted to hurt him like he hurt me. But the lawyer grabbed my arms. He pulled me back. "Ms. Rossi, stop this right now," the lawyer said sternly. "If you do not calm down and leave, I will call the police. You are trespassing. You have 10 minutes to get your personal items and leave the premises." I looked at the lawyer. I looked at Mark. I realized the terrible truth. There was no investor. There was no big business. There was only a plan to steal my money, a plan to steal my house. He played with my heart. He used my love. He waited for the right moment. And then he forced me to sign the papers. I had no power. I had no money for a lawyer. I had no family in the city to protect me. I was completely defeated. I walked slowly back into the house. My legs felt like lead. I went to my bedroom. I found an old blue bag. I put 3 shirts in the bag. I put 2 pairs of pants in the bag. I took my toothbrush. I took a picture of my mother and father. That was all. 6 years of hard work. And I left with 1 small blue bag. I walked out of the bedroom. I looked at my soft bed. I looked at my blue kitchen. I touched the wall one last time. Goodbye, safe place. I walked out the front door. The lawyer was waiting. Mark was waiting. I walked past them. I did not look at them. I walked down the street. I heard the yellow door close behind me. I heard the lock click. I was on the street. I had nothing. I walked for a long time. I did not know where I was going. My feet just moved. I walked past shops. I walked past tall buildings. People walked past me. They were laughing. They were drinking coffee. They were going home. I had no home. The sun started to go down again. The air got cold. I was tired. I was hungry. I walked into a big park. I found a wooden bench under a large tree. I sat down on the bench. I put my blue bag next to me. I watched the sky turn dark. The streetlights turned on. The park became empty. The city became quiet. I was alone. I pulled my knees up to my chest. I wrapped my arms around my legs. I tried to make myself small. I tried to stay warm. Then the tears came. They came like a flood. I cried loudly. I cried into my knees. I cried until my throat hurt. I cried until my eyes burned. Why, I asked the empty, dark park. Why did this happen to me? I was a good person. I worked hard. I loved him. Why did he do this? There was no answer. Only the cold wind. I felt so ashamed. I felt so stupid. I hated myself. I hated my soft heart. I hated my trusting nature. If I was hard, if I was mean, this would not happen. I told myself I would never trust anyone again. Never. I slept on the hard wooden bench that night. I woke up many times. Every sound scared me. A dog barking. A car driving by. I held my bag tight to my chest. I was a young woman sleeping on the street. It was the most frightening night of my life. When the morning light came, I felt broken. My bones hurt. My neck was stiff. My stomach growled loudly. I was so thirsty. I stood up slowly. I picked up my bag. I had to do something. I could not stay in the park forever. I started to walk. My feet took me to the only place I knew. The only place I felt safe before the house. The bakery. I walked for an hour. When I saw the sign for the bakery, my eyes filled with tears again. I smelled the warm bread baking. It smelled like heaven. I stood outside the glass window. I looked inside. I saw Rosa. She was putting fresh bread on the shelves. She wore her white apron. She looked so kind. I was afraid to go in. Look at me. My clothes were wrinkled and dirty from the park bench. My hair was a mess. My face was red and puffy from crying. I looked like a beggar. But I was so hungry, and I needed help. I pushed the door open. The little bell rang. Rosa turned around. She smiled. "Good morning," she started to say. Then she stopped. Her smile disappeared. She looked at me with wide eyes. "Eva," she asked. She put the bread down quickly. She ran from behind the counter. She came to me. "Eva, my dear child." "What happened to you?" she cried. She reached out and touched my messy hair. The kindness in her voice broke me. I fell to my knees on the floor of the bakery. I dropped my bag. I covered my face with my hands, and I sobbed. I cried so hard I could not breathe. Rosa knelt down next to me. She put her warm arms around me. She pulled me to her chest. She smelled like sugar and yeast. She hugged me tight, like a mother hugs a hurt child. "It's okay, Eva," she whispered. "It's okay. I am here. You are safe now. Let it out." I cried for a long time on the bakery floor. Rosa just held me. She did not ask questions. She just let me cry. When I finally stopped crying, Rosa helped me stand up. She locked the front door of the bakery. She turned the sign to closed. She took me to the back room. It was a small room where we rested. There was a small table and 2 chairs. She sat me down. She poured me a large glass of water. I drank it all very fast. Then she brought me a hot cup of tea and a big piece of warm, buttered bread. "Eat," she said gently. "Eat, and then you will tell me everything." I ate the bread. It was the best thing I ever tasted. The hot tea warmed my cold stomach. I started to feel a little bit human again. I looked at Rosa. Her kind eyes were watching me. I took a deep breath, and I told her. I told her the whole story. I told her about meeting Mark. I told her about the red flowers. I told her about him moving in. I told her about the money. I told her about the anger. I told her about the papers. I told her how he forced my hand. I told her how he threw me out on the street. I told her how stupid I was. Rosa listened silently. Her face grew red with anger when I talked about Mark. When I finished, she reached across the table and took my hands in hers. "Eva," she said firmly, "listen to me very carefully. You are not stupid. You are a kind, loving woman. You have a good heart. That monster took advantage of your good heart. He is a thief. He is a liar. He is evil. The shame belongs to him, not to you. Do you understand me?" I looked down at my hands. "But I lost everything, Rosa. My house, my money. It is all gone. I have nothing." Rosa squeezed my hands. "You did not lose everything. You did not lose your skills. You did not lose your health. You did not lose me. Money can be made again. A house can be bought again. The most important thing is that you are alive, and you are away from that terrible man." She stood up. "You will not sleep in the park tonight. You will not sleep in the park ever again. Above the bakery, there is a small storage room. It is very small, and it is dusty, but there is a bed in it. There is a small bathroom. You can stay there for free, as long as you need." I looked up at her. I could not believe her kindness. After all the bad things, there was still good in the world. "Rosa, I cannot," I started to say. "Yes, you can," she said. She held up her hand to stop me. "You are my best worker. You are like a daughter to me. You will stay upstairs. You will work in the bakery. We will rebuild your life together. One day at a time." I stood up and hugged her tightly. "Thank you, Rosa. Thank you so much." That day, I moved into the small room above the bakery. It was very different from my house with the yellow door. It had only one small window. The walls were gray. The bed was hard. I shared it with bags of flour and sugar. But it was warm. It was safe. The door had a strong lock. That night, I locked the door. I lay on the hard bed. I listened to the sounds of the street below. I was poor again. I was starting from zero, but I was safe. The next day, I put on my white apron again. I went down the stairs. I started to make bread. My healing began in the flour and the dough. Making bread takes patience. You mix the ingredients. You knead the dough with your hands. You push it, you fold it, you press it. It is hard work. It is physical work. I used all my anger, all my sadness, and pushed it into the dough. Then you have to wait. You must let the dough rise in a warm, dark place. It takes time to grow. I realized I was like the dough. I needed time in a quiet, safe place to grow again, to rise again. I worked every day. I woke up at 4 o'clock. I worked until 6 o'clock in the evening. Rosa gave me a small salary. I did not spend any of it. I saved every single coin in a glass jar under my bed. The first few months were very hard. I was very depressed. I walked with my head down. I did not talk to customers. If a man came into the bakery, I went to the back room. I was terrified of men. I saw Mark in every face. I heard his angry voice in every loud sound. Sometimes, at night, I woke up screaming. I dreamed about the black pen. I dreamed about his heavy hand crushing my fingers. I dreamed about the cold smile on his face. I would sit in my small bed, sweating and crying, waiting for the morning light. But Rosa was always there. If she heard me crying, she came upstairs. She made me warm milk with honey. She sat on my bed. She stroked my hair until I fell asleep again. "You are safe, Eva," she whispered. "He cannot hurt you here." Slowly, very slowly, the seasons changed. Winter came. It was cold outside, but the bakery was always warm. Then spring came. Small green leaves grew on the trees in the street. I started to change too. The nightmares became less frequent. I started to talk to customers again. I started to smile a real smile. I learned new recipes. I started making special cakes with beautiful sugar flowers. People loved my cakes. They came from far away to buy them. Rosa made me the head baker. She gave me a raise. My glass jar under the bed was full. I had to start a bank account again. One day, exactly 1 year after I lost my house, I walked to the park. The same park where I slept on the bench. It was a sunny afternoon. Children were playing. Dogs were running. I walked to the wooden bench under the large tree. I did not sit down. I just stood and looked at it. I remembered the broken, terrified girl who sat there. I remembered the cold and the tears. I took a deep breath. I raised my head. I looked at the blue sky. "You did not break me, Mark," I said aloud. My voice was strong and clear. "You took my money. You took my house. But you did not take my soul. I am still here. I am still Eva. I smiled. A huge, real, joyful smile. I felt a massive weight lift off my shoulders. The anger was gone. The hatred was gone. I just felt peace. I forgave myself for trusting him. I realized my ability to love, my ability to trust, were beautiful things. They were not weaknesses. They were my greatest strengths. Mark was the broken one, not me. He had to lie and steal to survive. I survived on my own hard work. I turned around and walked back to the bakery. I walked with my head held high. It has been 3 years now, since that terrible rainy day. My life is very different. Rosa retired last year. She moved to a sunny town near the sea. Before she left, she sold the bakery to me. I used all my saved money to buy it. I am the owner now, Eva's Bakery. I do not live in the small storage room anymore. I rented a nice, bright apartment just 2 streets away from the bakery. It is not a house with a garden. It does not have a yellow door, but it has large windows that let the sunshine in. It has a pink kitchen. It is full of green plants. It is my sanctuary. I work hard. I still wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I still get flour on my face. But I am the boss. I hire young girls who need jobs. I teach them how to make bread. I teach them how to make beautiful sugar flowers. I teach them to be strong and independent. I have friends now. Good, honest friends. We go out for dinner on Saturday nights. We laugh a lot. I never saw Mark again. I heard from a customer that he went to prison for tricking another person with a fake business. I did not feel happy. I did not feel sad. I felt nothing for him. He is a ghost from my past. Sometimes I think about my old house. I hope the people living there are happy. I hope they cook nice meals in the blue kitchen. I hope they water the flowers in the garden. I left my love in that house, but I do not need the building anymore. My home is inside me now. My safety is inside my own strong heart and my own hardworking hands. I wanted to tell you this story for a reason. I want to tell you that bad things happen to good people. Sometimes, the people we love the most hurt us the most deeply. Sometimes, people will lie to you. They will take your money. They will force you into terrible situations. You might lose everything you worked for. You might find yourself crying in the dark, feeling completely ruined and foolish. If you are in the dark right now, listen to me. It is okay to feel scared. It is okay to cry. You must cry to let the pain out. But do not stay on the cold bench. Do not let the bad people change your good heart. Do not let them make you cold and bitter. Do not let them win. You must stand up. You must put one foot in front of the other. You must find a safe place. You must ask for help if you need it. There are kind people in the world, like Rosa. Look for the kind people. Then you must get back to work. Rebuild your life stone by stone. Save your money coin by coin. Heal your heart day by day. It will not happen overnight. It takes a long time. It takes patience. You must treat yourself like the dough. Give yourself time to rise again in the warmth. You are much stronger than you think you are. You can survive the worst storms. You can lose everything and still find yourself again. Look at me. I lost my house. I lost my savings. I was thrown on the street by the man I loved. He forced me to sign the papers, and I thought my life was over. But my life was not over. It was just starting a new chapter. A better, stronger chapter. I am evil. I am a baker. I am a business owner. I am a survivor. And you are a survivor too. You can do this. Whatever you are fighting right now, you can win. Keep your good heart. Keep your hope. Wake up tomorrow and try again. And the next day. And the next day. The sun will rise again. And you will rise with it. I believe in you. Keep going. You can build a beautiful life again. I promise you, keep going.